everyone, and welcome to One Shot number 28. I'm Gabe here, joined by Jocelyn, and we are going to be talking about an interesting book by Marvel. But before we get into this, go check out our issue number 28. It was a great time. We reviewed Stripperella episodes 1 and 2. It was a ton of fun. Stripperella.
Oh, so much fun.
It's going to be stuck in my head
So
for the
much
rest
fun.
of the year. I'm going to be playing that at the wedding, dude.
Yeah, we're gonna pop at the wedding.
So go check that out. We talked about that. We talked about Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale fan casting their own Batman movie with an insane cast. And we also talked about some other books we've been reading and buying. So things like Superman that we've been reading and fucking Hellshock and things like that. So check that out. And right now, though, we're going to take a look and review Nightwatch number 1. All right. The year is 1994. All right. Image Comics is fucking thriving right now. And who is bringing them all the dough? One of the highest selling independent comics of all time. Spawn is bringing them to the promised land. So Marvel looked at it. First DC looked at it and was like, we can do that. They made Azrael. We saw how that ended up. Azrael Batman. And Marvel said, you know what? Let's throw our hat into this. But they weren't on the nose enough.
Yeah.
Let's be more on the nose and just make Spawn light. That's literally what they did. They said, let's take Spawn and just add little white spikes on his chin and then call it a day. That is Nightwatch. And I will say, though, he looks cool. All right?
Oh, yeah, I really
Nightwatch
like the
looks
design.
cool. And I'm going to dog on some of this. It's okay. It's also of the time, so we have to take that into account. I think Nightwatch, if given another chance, currently could be a home run. If you get the right writer on it to really revamp the story, if you did, like, Ultimate Nightwatch for your Ultimate series, that would be cool. I would buy that in an instant.
Boy, I really agree, because from the Nightwatch solo series I read, I was like, not great. Not great.
And yes, you've read this a while back.
Yes.
And then this was my first time taking it in the day we're recording. So, for people wondering. By the way, it's another Stan Lee Presents. Shout out Stripperella, another Stan Lee product. we are on topic with this Stan Lee Presents Nightwatch. And this has, we talked about Stan Lee-isms in Stripperella. This has Stan Lee-isms done badly. This has a lot of over-explaining. There's a lot of information being thrown at you, a lot of tell, don't show. So like in this opening panel here, we see Nightwatch flying through the sky with what I can only say is the Azrael Batman cape. That's all it is. This is like if they took Azrael Batman and Spawn and put into one character, which then makes me think, what year was Azrael Batman?
Would have been the year before, right?
That's how I thought.
That's what I thought.
Specifically, John Paul Valley takes over Batman in 1993. Yep. In July 93.
Okay.
And this came out April 94. Okay. Because I'm like, these gauntlets, they are Azrael Batman gauntlets. This is, if they, honestly, the armor aspect of him is all Azrael too. This is them, I feel like, taking shots at Azrael and Spawn and trying to make their own thing. And it just, I don't know. So, we start off, this is him flying through the sky. And we find out he's talking about this guy named Kevin Trench. Name kind of sucks, but we find out that Kevin Trench, this has been his only home forever, but this is also the home of Nightwatch. And he still has more questions than answers to his origin, but as he's flying into the city, that's besides the point. That's secondary right now. There is some action to get to. And right now, there is a total copyright infringement here. I don't know if you have it up, but on page 2, there's a total copyright infringement of him flying in the sky. And it's just the Batman logo in the moon. His silhouette is just the Batman logo, which is, yeah, they got away with that.
It's a little dicey.
Yeah, a little dicey. So we find out here that there are people being held at gunpoint here, and it's at the top of the Daily Bugle. There are people holding them up top. They are proving to a man named Salvo. They're proving themselves to a man named Salvo. These men and women are holding them hostage, and they're questioning them about all this nonsense, and they're like, we're not leaving until we get who we came for. And of course, everyone's like, dog, we work at the Daily Bugle. What are you talking about? And they're looking for a man known as Deep. Not the Deep from The Boys, just Deep. And as they're questioning how badass the Deep is and how when they get him, he's going to be so powerful, we see none other than Nightwatch swooping in from the moon. And as he's swooping in, we see a very oddly faced young reporter known as Peter Parker. You guys heard of him?
I might have heard of him.
And oh boy, does he tell and not show. Let me explain this to you. Let me read. Story we originally planned to cover about current prison conditions took on a whole new slant when these terrorists commandeered the Daily Bugle helicopter with almost military precision before takeoff. Hostages have been completely surrounded since this began, but I can't keep waiting for an opportunity to act that won't endanger the others. Peter Parker has an edge over his fellow photojournalist that nobody suspects. Okay, that is what he's thinking in his head, and he talks about himself in the third person. What I read is what Peter's thinking. Who thinks like that?
and not what he actually said.
And then he goes, what? Spider sense suddenly blaring danger warnings? You know, as opposed to non-danger warnings? And he's like, from above? I feel like he's always looking up when his spider sense goes off. Am I dumb? Isn't he always looking up like, oh shit, like what's around me? Anyways,
Yes.
It's Nightwatch. It's Nightwatch, motherfucker. He swoops in and he takes out two of these guys. He found out their names are Cutter and Trank. And we found out that I guess they have they can heal fast, this guy says. I guess.
Of course.
I still don't know if we've learned this guy's name by now. If we have, it literally means nothing. So he points a gun at Nightwatch, and when he's done, the guards start shooting, and smoke starts going off. And they're like, no! It's Nightwatch is like, oh my god. He's like, no! They're gonna kill the hostages! And this is where you learn that Nightwatch is like anti-kill. You know, like Spawn. So he stabs these guys with his cape, his Spawn cape. There's really no other way to describe it. It has like literally a mind of its own.
There really isn't.
And you know how Spawn's cape has a mind of its own? You find out with Nightwatch, his whole suit has a mind of its own. It's like a symbiote almost. It can like repair itself, heal him, prevent damage. He stabs these two guys in the hand, knocking their weapons out, and he says to himself, Nightwatch does not kill intentionally. So, just to cover all grounds, if someone dies, it was an accident.
What a cop-out.
Which is okay, because, you know, accidents happen.
Such a fucking cop-out.
So this guy the guy that he's fighting has this weapon shootout. It's like a weird laser weapon, and it blasts at Nightwatch, and he tries to block them with his cape, and it shoots through the cape and blasts him in the chest and blows parts of his suit off. But luckily, it's just the arms and two parts of the thigh. You gotta show off. You gotta show off the guns for the ladies, man. You know, there's lady readers out there. You gotta get their attention. So this is where you actually find out, just like Spawn, he is black, like Spawn. So you know, just coincidence, I guess. So he blocks it, gets blasted, and he's like, "Oh shit, my suit's not repairing. That's weird. That shouldn't be happening." And as he's talking to himself, he's like, "Oh no." And Spider-Man comes bouncing in when he webs you find out he webs the hostages to save them. And so, you know, Nightwatch can sleep happy at night knowing they're not dead. And Spider-Man bounces in, and he says actually a great line here, which is actually great in hindsight in 1994. He says, "I'm not that hard to recognize, pal. It's only a matter of time until Spider-Man the movie." If only he knew how many would come.
Which I believe by that point was actually rumored to be in development by James Cameron.
Yes, that was the Leo one, right? The Leonardo DiCaprio one?
I don't know who who was rumored to play Spider-Man, but I know that James Cameron was rumored to direct.
Okay, because I know there was one where is Leo rumored, but I don't know if it's that one or another one. But it might, I don't know, it might be. But there's also what I didn't like about this book. By the way, I want to put something out there. The art is fine. It's 1994 art. It's what you expect. They try to throw in some like cross-hatching image stuff in there, which I think is fine. It looks cool. Spider-Man looks great. Nightwatch looks great. I think his tattered cape look here looks cool. It looks like another person, but it looks cool.
And the artist Ron Lim, like very well known to be a Silver Surfer artist.
Yes.
And he's very good. He's very good.
Yeah, it looks phenomenal. You can tell by like the chrome on the forearms. It's the exact way he draws the chrome on Silver Surfer's body. He has like a specific way he draws it. It's actually what I like use. I'm gonna be honest. I pull from it because it's a great way to draw metal. Like if you do like that solid black line with a couple lines after to give it like the effect it's like depth. and then you draw the
Mhm.
big flash in the black block. It looks cool. I steal that 100% because of Ron Lim. I'm gonna be honest, it's great. It's a great way to do it. But there's a weird way like they do the wording here. So like on this next page, they're lunging forward in a cool little action pose, but then the dialogue, it's almost like an anime. So you have to read the top one to the to the right, where he goes, "I'm new to the city, Spider-Man," and then Spider-Man responds, "New to the planet, maybe," but it's written in a way like a manga's written. So like I read it backwards, and I was like, "Wait, what?" Like I didn't know what to follow.
That's very strange. Yeah.
So we see the villain get away. He's leaving with a woman named Shell. And you find out it's his girlfriend or wife because they're fleeing, and she says, "Follow me, babe." As Spider-Man and Nightwatch are kicking ass right now, and Nightwatch is like, "Oh, I couldn't risk more victims on my conscience, friend." He's just like so worried about victims being killed, and he's like, "Jesus Christ, dude." He says, "Gotcha. As the only survivor of a botched steroid experiment, I learned the hard way, sucker," says the villain. "That whatever doesn't kill us makes me stronger." I thought what doesn't kill me makes me stronger, not what doesn't kill us makes me stronger. I don't think that's worded correctly.
They didn't proofread it.
That's Trank, by the way. Spider-Man just yells Nightwatch, and he goes, "Nightwatch!" And then out loud he goes, or the fleeing Salvo in his ammo-toting mall. So he says out loud what he's thinking of doing. And then he whispers to it. He says in his head, "Oh, well, there's no choice. I got to go for the guy shooting Nightwatch." So he blows up the guy's gun, which 100% would make you lose a hand and probably kill you from bleeding out. So Spider-Man attempted murder right there. But maybe it was an accident, like Nightwatch, so maybe it'll pass.
Maybe. We'll see.
So Nightwatch, I like Nightwatch's look better with no sleeves. Because there's a cool image where he's like fighting off Trank and he has no sleeves. It looks cool.
It is pretty cool, yeah.
He goes, "Enough," and he he shoots off Trank. And the guards are just shooting at this fucking helicopter in the sky. And you see it again, it like reads almost backwards because you have to look at Shell getting shot first and then read when he goes, "You make an excellent shield, Shell. I knew there was something I loved about you." And then she just like starts plummeting to her death. She gets fucking lit up by SWAT, which is so fucked up. And Nightwatch is like, "Oh, I can't let that murderous scum escape me." So he flies off after him, and he starts chasing him. Spider-Man does a cool beat up here, uppercuts Trank, destroys his gun with one punch. It really shows his strength. And he says, he's like, "All right, I'm kind of pissed off. I'm done toying with you." And he punches the guy, knocks him out cold. Helicopters show up, and they're like, "Where the hell is backup?" And you find out backup was actually at the Statue of Liberty where there was a fire. And they're like, "God damn it, this was set up by fucking Salvo." By the way, I think the villain is Salvo. I'm starting to put that together here. So they're like, "God damn it," he tricked us. So they're like, "Fuck, all right, go follow that helicopter." And by the way, this helicopter isn't just like a military helicopter. It's a reporting helicopter for the Daily Bugle. It's like what they use to get footage for pictures for the fucking camera. So, So they're flying away. You see Nightwatch flying through the sky again. He finally gets to the plane. He gets close enough. Oh, did I skip something here? Oh, yeah, Spider-Man jumped onto the plane at this point. And he has a reason. He's like, "If they find me on here, Peter Parker. You know that wacky Peter Parker. Always getting in weird places to get pictures. Don't know how he does it." So that's like his backup excuse for when they wonder why Spider-Man was on the plane and now Peter Parker's there. So then he says something that sounds like murder here. Nightwatch says,
Sounds like murder.
"As long as the backwash from his motors gets me in close enough to take this animal down." So if he's in a plane and you're planning to take him down, that sounds a lot like you're trying to kill him, Nightwatch. Intentionally,
It's like,
not by accident.
but you don't see it my way, civilian.
Yes, he's going to survive the crash, and he will be okay. But if he dies, that's not what I planned, so it'll be an accident. So it's not intentional. It's okay.
Exactly.
So he gets on the plane and, confirms my grating suspicions. He says, "This ends now, Salvo." So this is Salvo. And he goes, "Wrong, Nightwatch. I'm getting off here." And he shoots off in fucking power boots. And I only know they're power boots because Nightwatch literally says, "Booster boots will carry Salvo safely to the next roof, unless I stop him." But then he's like, "Oh, wait, I'm literally on a plane that's plummeting down to the ground. And, it's like the civilians don't want to kill civilians." And then, honestly, This is the best part of the book is his background. Like, figuring out how he became Nightwatch. This is good. So, this is how he became Nightwatch. He says it's happening all over again, and you see him 10 years ago. He's having a graduation day with his favorite science student? So is he fucking his student? I actually just put that together now. Because this is like a woman he's in love with, because she goes on a plane, and the plane starts crashing down after Nightwatch comes through a portal, and something punches him through the portal, and Nightwatch pops out like, boom, motherfucker. He scares him. Booga booga. And he's like, what the fuck? And like, of course, this guy just got punched in the face and his glasses fell off. And he's like, I'm Nightwatch. And he's like, I can't see. And he's like, this will all make sense soon. And he gives him a newspaper. And he's like, oh, fuck. And on it, dude, this image of him on the ground gripping the paper with the green electricity around him, I'm like, this is the most Spawn picture of all time. Like, clutching at something, fucking the green Spawn electricity that's coming from his hand on the cover of issue 1, like, that's it's emanating off of him. And he's like, and he starts, like, dying. And Trench is like, oh my god, I recognize that face. But then for some reason, obviously it's his own face. He's like, it's me. But then he's like, ooh, but I don't know. He has, like, broken ribs I don't have. But then he does have the scar on his leg, so maybe it's me? Even though he literally just said he has his face.
Right.
But again, remember, he doesn't have glasses, so maybe he's just blind. Or an idiot. And he's like, well, this doesn't make sense. This newspaper's from 10 years in the future? And then he puts on the mask, and he's like, I can see through the mask like it's my prescription. So, I think this might be me from the future. So then as he puts it on, this is when we see that the plane starts plummeting down. He does mention the helpless hostages, but he really only cares about this chick, Ashley, who's a student that he's fucking, who's on the plane. And then the plane explodes, and he flies out the plane, and he's like, fuck, that sucks.
Yeah.
But honestly, his reasoning, he does feel responsible for it, and, I can feel for that. He was there. He feels like he could have talked her off the plane because he felt like he should have been on the plane when he wasn't, and he tried to save it, and it blew up. So, honestly, this origin, I joked about it, but it's not horrible. It's a very cookie-cutter Marvel origin. You love someone. It's the Uncle Ben, He had someone he loved that cared for him and was important in his life. Something tragic happened that he couldn't control, but he feels guilty about, and he feels like he needs to do right by that. It's literally Spider-Man. Maybe that's why Spider-Man's in a lot of crossovers with him, honestly.
Right.
So, and he says, I have no intention of letting this repeat itself and other hostages dying. So he actually just punches through the glass, grabs the plane handle, and he's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just know I'm going to turn this away from the city. And he ends up crashing it into the water with a nice sound effect of sploom. Never heard that noise for water. So that's pretty interesting. Sploom. So he comes out, and Salvo's talking to himself again. He goes, of course I'm dealing with a coward who sneaks through the dark. And then he goes, and a coward who sneaks from behind, and he shoots him. He goes to shoot him in midair. And this time he dodges it. So he's like, I got your ass. So he moves out the way, and he goes to reach out for Salvo. Salvo shoots him in the shoulder again, and he's like, fuck, like I felt that shot, that hurt. And he starts just going crazy at this point. Salvo's just charging at him, shooting rockets off his shoulder, going nuts. He's missing it to the point where he dodges out the way, Nightwatch does, and Salvo hits a water tank. By the way,
kind of.
Nightwatch just watched a man basically drown, just saying murder. And he goes, I'm not through with Salvo yet. And you see, like, his circuits are all fucking up on his suit. And he's really curious about this suit and where it's from. And he's trying to ask him where he got it. And then they show Salvo pass out. I don't know if he passes out or dies. Because it goes wonk. And he passes out, and the cops show up. And he's, like, scared that the cops are coming. So I think he's dead. To which he immediately goes, I'm going to steal his armor. So he starts messing with the armor. It attaches to him and literally covers only the spots that have been ripped open in this fight. And now he looks like Azrael. And he lost the big Spawn collar. So now he's got like a weird neck collar going around. I say weird, but it looks cool still. He still looks cool.
Right.
He looks badass. Spider-Man shows up. He's like, hey, I see that, you did good with this, but I don't think the cops are going to agree with that. To which, that's when I was like, is he dead? Because if the cops aren't going to agree with what they see when they show up, and he's telling him to run, he has to be dead, right?
Right?
So he literally disappears into the shadows. And then for some reason he takes his mask off, and this is where we see his full face. This is the same guy from the flashbacks. He just has shorter hair now. And he's saying that nothing's going to stop him from figuring out what this is, who made this. Because someone's making something that can go against his suit. And he thought his suit was like the most top-of-the-line thing in the world. Now something is out there that could kill him. He wants to know what it is. So the motive is there. I like the motive. This is where you see Deep in prison. That's who I thought. So I got Deep and Salvo mixed up. So until now, I forgot. I thought this was Salvo. Deep is the guy in jail. So Salvo was getting him. Either way, it doesn't matter. Salvo's dead. And Deep is pissed because they're like, the cops are making fun of him in prison. They're like, hey, Deep, it looks like you and your cellmate won't be going anywhere. Your friends failed. Haha. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And the guy's like, yeah, I don't care. The cops are like, it doesn't matter. Some dude, Spider-Man, and some dude named Nightwatch took your guys down. And he's like, oh, that damn Nightwatch. Again, he ruins my plans. But soon I will have my revenge. And then it ends. That is issue 1 of Nightwatch. This was not what I thought it was going to be.
This is a really bad first issue.
This is bad.
I'm just going to say it.
This is what we needed, though. We've had home runs, but we've talked about Nightwatch so much that I felt like we needed to cover issue 1 just to do it. Because we covered Spawn #1, and honestly, Spawn 1 was average. When we read it, it was all right, you know?
The first Spawn?
Yeah.
I liked it for what it was, but yeah, it wasn't
like
great
mind-blowing.
either.
Yeah, but Nightwatch was just not good. Just go...
Flat out, just not good, yeah.
Just go read Spawn. Spawn was a year into its run by now, or 2 years into its run. Just go read Spawn. Like, what number? Let me see. Spawn, April...
Might have been 2 years, actually, into the run.
Oh, no way. So the April 1994 of Spawn is actually an issue I own. This is the iconic issue where he got hung by the KKK members. This was that iconic, like, problematic issue that, like, everyone...
I remember that one.
Yeah. This is, like, an iconic issue. This is where he, like, burns the KKK people.
Yeah.
This issue rules. He, like, kills a bunch of racists. Oh, and this is the same month as Spawn Batman. Yeah, why are you reading Nightwatch in April of 1994? Like, what the fuck? Yeah, absolutely not. Like, this wasn't great, but it's still better than fucking... We'll cover this in the future. I own this. I just bought this like a month ago. We'll cover that in the future, but yeah, dude. Yeah, go read Spawn #30. Honestly, it's a much better issue.
Do you know what disappoints me, Gabe, is that... So when they introduced Nightwatch, they actually introduced him like in a Spider-Man comic. I think it's Web of Spider-Man, issue 10. I'm not, like, don't quote me on that, but it's somewhere.
Let's see. Nightwatch, first appearance.
It's something like
right
that.
Here. Number 97. He looks so different, too. Is that him?
He does, yeah.
Cover? He looks like Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe.
On the cover, yeah.
Yeah, he's like if Snake Eyes and Deadpool had a baby. Wait, did that just... Wait, hold on. Because the suit he wears when he becomes Nightwatch is not that.
Yeah.
Hold on. I need to see something. Web of Spider-Man number 97. I need to see something. I need to see what he looks like in the book. Because maybe it's just the cover that he looks like that. Because this guy's shooting guns. So I don't think this is him. Because this guy's killing people. I don't think this is Nightwatch. And he's white. Okay, so that's not Nightwatch. Okay, so we've solved that. I'm so confused. Maybe that is Nightwatch. I am so confused right now, dude. Because if that's Nightwatch, he's killing people and he's a white guy in a different costume that he didn't get when allegedly 10 years ago he became Nightwatch.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is... Wait, the name is Trench. Wait, this is him. This is Trench. Wait, why is he in the military? But why does he look so old?
What I was going to say is when he debuted, he had a lot of hype. And I feel like they didn't really capitalize on that hype.
Also, he says here, the name is Trench, stranger. Your friends are already dead when I found them, but you are not. Yet. That's murder. All right?
It sure is.
You cannot tell me otherwise. All right, well, his lore immediately is fucking made null and void when this is his second page. When he's going full Punisher on these people.
Yeah.
This looks badass, though. This is... I want to see... this looks... I'd rather have read this Nightwatch. Like a Punisher type character? I would have taken that. Butter. I love that they still use that noise. Fucking fucking. He says here, I brought enough ammo for everybody. And he has fucking grenades and he's blowing people up. What? This guy's. See, this Nightwatch slaps, bro. I could see the hype if this was Nightwatch. But I haven't seen the word Nightwatch show up once in this. And I don't think that is Nightwatch. Like, I think Trench this is the first appearance here, if his name is Trench. So, yeah, I don't fucking know, dude. They like watch it. Why is he on I don't know. His lore is confusing. Everything's confusing. But like I said, if a current day writer, like if you said, hey, Chip, you want to write a 3-issue Nightwatch, you think you can do it? Fucking, even though people hate him, honestly, I feel like Zeb Wells can channel his depression and sadness into a good Nightwatch story. Because he hates Spider-Man and Mary Jane being together. So look, here's a story where the woman died. You can never have them together. That's the whole story. Have fun, Zeb. Have fun. I think if you let a modern day writer get their hands on this, I think it could be good.
Zeb is fucking jerking off just thinking about that. He's like, I can make him miserable. I can do that.
Like, I'm shocked. Like, Nightwatch had this series and then just fucking vanished. Just into the ether, never to come back.
So I haven't read this. I've only heard about it. In the Charles Soule run of She-Hulk, they retroactively established Nightwatch as a supervillain, and I really hate the idea of that.
Oh?
Yeah. And that's the last time he's ever mentioned in Marvel.
Bro, no way. They changed his design too? But bro, okay, look at this design they changed it to, right? Okay? That's the later... Dude, that's just Shadowhawk. They went from Spawn to Shadowhawk. Red eyes and everything.
It really is.
No fucking way. Is Trench just like... is Nightwatch just like a image joke? Like an in-joke? Like, that's what I'm feeling like.
Kind of feels like that, huh?
30 appearances? Where do you get 30 appearances from? Holy shit. Tons of webs of Spider-Man. Oh, is this the last thing here? Marvel Comics Presents. Yeah, this is it here. His last... 2019? What? Why is there no images of this? Why is it all just 90s Nightwatch? Can't find anything, bro. Oh, I will say, though, this Marvel Masterworks card, it looks very nice.
Very nice. Very nice, yeah.
Very, very nice. Well,
isn't it frustrating? It's frustrating because, like, you create a character visually who just looks really cool, but then you hired the worst possible people to fucking write for him.
Yeah, dude. And then, oh yeah, here's Trench here. Trench becoming Nightwatch. Yeah, and the thing is, there's such an interesting thing you can do with an image type of character, like a very gray character in Marvel, like how they did with Punisher, where it's just a morally ambiguous character. It's like, is he good? Is he bad? You know, that I think that would have worked a lot better than just being like, oh, I refuse to kill. I'm against all of that. Like, that's what instantly, like, that's not why people read Spawn. They weren't like, oh, I'm reading Spawn because he's a morally good character. They're like, no, he is cool and he kills bad guys when they deserve it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like...
And you know what? So, like, to compare Nightwatch to someone in Marvel, like, on the parallel, like, look at someone like Night Thrasher, who's supposed to be a Batman parallel, and he's written so much better than Nightwatch ever was. Yeah,
exactly. And I will say, though, there are no misses on these Nightwatch covers. All these covers, though, are pretty badass. Especially this one here. This is my favorite one. Issue 8.
Yeah.
This is such an image cover, but it's, like, fucking amazing. I love it, dude. Like, that's just Azrael, issue number 12. Like, it's just, like, his armor gets more ridiculously large.
Even the proportions.
Yeah, like, look at this, dude. So I think what also this suffered from, it wasn't, like, while the story was horrible, like, the writing's horrible, but the art, too, it wasn't, like, that was another thing with Spawn. You had Todd McFarlane drawing peak Todd McFarlane art, and it was different than what Marvel was doing. Marvel was still very much doing their 1993 style. It's hard to describe, but if you say the words 1993 Marvel comic, it looks like this. You know, I don't know how to...
Yes. It does. It does.
I'm trying to find... There was one... Yeah, this cover here. There was one weirdly odd cover that is very out of place. It uses like the digital coloring in the. It's a very image thing, but they use the digital coloring in the name on every piece of the cover. But when you look at every other Nightwatch thing, it just looks so different. It looks like an indie company cover. You know what I mean? That's the only iffy cover. But yeah, the one with Venom's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, this just needed a better. It just need better writing and a better vision. I feel like they didn't know what they wanted. They were just like, all right, cool Spawn guy, and then like they stopped there.
Yeah, I really look at him as like window dressing.
Yeah.
It's very, very wasted potential.
And think about it, anytime we've brought up Nightwatch on the show, it's always been like, oh man, he looks cool. And anytime I draw Nightwatch, it's because he looks cool. That's why I'm drawing him. He's a cool guy to draw. But that's it. That's where he stops. I am curious what Spike Lee was cooking, though.
I would have been curious to see that as well, yeah.
That would have been very interesting to see if he... I know he would have like completely flipped it on its head and done something completely different, but this is one of the cases of a comic book where if a movie writer came in, I would be like, please change every piece of it. Besides his look.
I think... yeah, and I think Spike would have done that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but like I said, that's the best part about this show. We cover everything, man. We'll cover the insanely crazy, good, successful books, but we'll throw in like the Nightwatch. You know, that stuff you have to cover. It's history. You know, this is the one time Marvel is like, we're gonna make a Spawn character. You got to talk about it. You got to cover it at one point. And I honestly, I like looking through these bad books too. I like looking through them. You know, because they're, like I said, they're history. And I have a soft spot for books that are bad. Because, again, it's a comic book, man. I'm only spending maybe 10 minutes on reading these. I'm not wasting, hours on a bad TV show or bad movie. It's 10 minutes on a quick read. It's whatever. Am I going to keep reading Nightwatch? I'll maybe check out the next one or two to see if the writing gets better. But I think you can attest maybe it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Okay, so maybe I won't. Maybe I won't.
But I will encourage you to still read it so you can form your own opinion on it.
Yeah, I would like to complete it and finish it. But these are
I've powered through it and I've read the whole thing. I regret it, but I did it.
These are great case studies. I've powered through a lot of bad things too, man. But they're good case studies of like when you're reading a book, now you know like, all right, this is like where the low bar is.
Yeah.
So that was Nightwatch #1. Next month, though, we are going to be diving into the Longbox again. Hot, that's the name of the show.
Take a shot.
We're gonna be looking at something a lot better, a lot more fun, and we're gonna stick with the Stan Lee. What's the word? The Stan Lee genre.
Isms.
Okay. Stan Lee ism. I guess isms. I haven't read it, so I don't know if there's isms in it. But as everyone knows, next month, I actually didn't announce it. I forgot to announce it. But next month, we're going to treat our next episode as a big Superman and Fantastic Four extravagant episode because it's the July episode. And July is the month of the Super Fantastic Four, baby.
Yes.
So we are going to be looking at, in our next one-shot, Superman by Stan Lee. We will be looking at that next one-shot. That should be a lot of fun. Look for that, and we will see you guys then. Take care, stay safe, and when you hear us next, we will probably have seen Superman and Fantastic Four. So look out for that. We'll see you then.